Mats, you can probably take the microphone here and continue.
Thank you. I wanted to also thank the speakers, the witnesses, so to say, the testimony given by successful participants. I think there were some really excellent advice given and highlighting some of the experiences. I have nothing to object. I think it's all very relevant. I can only maybe stress the fact that the experts evaluating in the evaluation situation has limited time. Now we do remote evaluations, meaning they sit at home and read, so they have a little bit more time than in the past, thankfully. But still, they have a number of proposals. It's not just your proposal. They have maybe in the order of 5, 6, 7, sometimes more proposals to evaluate. And they also have other things to do at home and at work. So still, it's in your interest to catch their interest. It's not a matter of selling a product, obviously. It's a serious business making a proposal, but you have to explain the reason why this proposal is necessary and why it is good, and maybe you have to wait and write the introduction to the end. That's possible. That's a matter of technique and style, but it's very important. The first 5-10 pages of the proposal is very important. Most people start reading from page 1, and if they get a good impression, it's very good for the reading of the rest of the proposal. If they get a bad impression from the first 5 pages, it's extremely difficult to change the mind of the expert afterwards. So I mean, then I think that's often how it works. At least for me, when I read something, you're getting confused or suspicious in the beginning, you try to find confirmation of your suspicion, and vice versa. So it's better to make the experts look for confirmation of their positive first impression. It's always about first impression. But that's maybe just to point at that. I think otherwise it's really good. It's important to try to think about the experts' situation they are in when they evaluate. They are not always a complete expert on everything. Don't assume too much, but don't explain everything in detail either. So it's a matter of balance.
I could possibly ask one question here.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not sort of taking care of the evaluation process. You have agencies for doing that. But do you know, has sort of the window of opportunity closed now for picking or selecting the experts for the calls that are sort of closing in March? Is it still time? I mean, if you register now, will there be a possibility to be picked for being an expert evaluator?
Yes, I think it's still time. I know my RIA colleagues are in the process of looking for experts. So it's done in several stages. One stage is they do like they harvest the database using keywords. They get their kind of pool of experts to start looking at. But then so that's all based on assumptions. They have to assume that they get X number of proposals in each topic. They would need this number of experts in a particular area. And then the actual proposals start arriving, or they start to have indications from the participant portal, because they already see when people start inserting the first basic information about their proposal in the system. They already get an indication and they can start planning. And then it's several iterations, and at the very end, when the proposal starts arriving at the deadline, they actually see that some of the experts they have they wanted to use are actually involved in a proposal, or in a competing proposal. So they have to do a reallocation, because conflicts of interest are taken very, very seriously, and we try to avoid any perceived conflict of interest. So I think it's always still a chance. Yeah.
So it's time to ask the sort of final questions to Mats. Anyone who volunteers?
Maybe not the final question, but I was not allowed before the coffee break to ask this question, so therefore. It is related to Earth's observations and specifically then to the evolution of the Copernicus services. I heard that it was a bit tricky actually to get this into the call. Copernicus services, of course, as you have mentioned, related to operations, mainly without money for doing research. So this is very important for the long-term evolution of the Copernicus services. So I would like to know, will there be any chance to have more money in this respect in the, let's say, calls of 18 to 20 or something like that? Or should we mainly look into the societal areas for money where there are more money actually?
Okay, so my understanding from speaking to colleagues in the Copernicus unit, which are just sitting next to each other, just a few days ago, is that they think that there will be that we will in the 2018 to 20 program also be addressing basically similar issues like downstream services, evolution of the Copernicus services, and some specific areas perhaps related to new technologies for the future and things like that. So yes, societal challenges will address certain issues, and sometimes Earth observation data is needed, or some more specific aspects of Earth observation may be addressed, but they will probably not address the specific needs of the Copernicus services for the evolutions. I think this probably is a responsibility for our part of the program to address. This is my understanding.
Do we have any more questions? I think if you have any special questions, I think Mats is around for at least some time. So I think we sort of close this meeting. I just want to highlight that for those of you who've been here today, you will get the material through an email. But you can also Google Vinnova conference documentation, and there you will find all the material. So I'd like to thank you for being patient with us today, and I would like to thank you all, the audience here, and as well the web viewers. So thank you for today.